We're now in the middle of a decade that has seen big changes worldwide. Wars, the pandemic, economic ups and downs, and shifts in how countries are run have made the world different from how it was. These changes will keep happening, and they're going to speed up. Big changes might happen in 2024, different from the way the world has been for several decades. Issues like climate change affecting third world countries and shifts in important trade routes are expected. Back to history. The Cold War was a rivalry between the USA and the USSR, competing for power and influencing small nations through proxy wars. After the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union, the USA emerged as unbeatable, possessing superior military and economic strength, and established dominance in various aspects worldwide. The USD has become the predominant common currency for international trade. The global influence of the United States is pervasive, extending to various aspects of our lives, including the movies we watch, the music we listen to, and to great influence in international organizations such as the IMF and World Bank. Therefore, we have lived in a world of unipolarity until China knocks the door. So before we continue, let me explain to you about what polarity means in international relations. Unipolarity characterizes a world where influence and control are concentrated in a single country, particularly the USA. Bipolarity refers to a world dominated by two superpowers, the Cold War of the USA and the USSR. In contrast, multipolarity is a world where power is distributed more evenly among various regional or international players, without a significant disparity between them. The late 2010s and early 2020s saw increased geopolitical tensions and major policy change. As we head into the mid-2020s, the global environment will continue to be uncertain and volatile. We have already seen intense conflicts and wars, including the Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas conflict. Even though it seems the global order is now bipolar between the USA and China, it has become multipolar. First of all, let's take a look at the Russia-Ukraine war first. During his visits to the US, President Zelensky faced challenges despite warm relations. Zelensky got $325 million for the military, but not the $24 billion he hoped for, facing Congress disagreements. He talked with President Biden and skeptical Republicans. The war has taken longer and Republicans are not happy with flowing their money out of the country to help other nations, not even to Israel. Also, a recent dispute with ally Poland over Ukrainian grain, where Zelensky hinted at perceived assistance to Russia. Some European candidates prioritize local issues over aiding Ukraine, notably Hungary. If Trump wins the next election, that's the harsh reality we wish we didn't know. Let's go to Israel. We all know what's happening with Israeli attacks on Hamas and causing harm upon Palestinian citizens. And Israel has got a bigger plan for it. It is Greater Israel. Greater Israel is expanding Israel's territory to include historic biblical land, covering occupied Palestinian territories and the Golan Heights. Israeli leaders are openly rejecting the idea of an independent Palestinian state and Palestinian land rights. With the expansion of illegal Jewish-only settlements in the West Bank, is the pursuit of a Greater Israel, either explicitly or implicitly. Some view the entire region from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean as the Jews' promised land by divine right. Jews would not settle in nearby sovereign states, but they don't show signs of stopping their expansion into Palestinian territories, meaning that more conflicts and heat goes on around that region. The global geopolitical landscape is becoming more unpredictable across various regions and issues. The future dynamics among major powers like the US, EU, and China are uncertain. Increasing multipolarity is expected to strengthen economic diversification and emphasize the resilience of supply chains. This shift will be influenced by intensified competition among geopolitical blocs or alliance networks. In 2024, geopolitical swing states, nations not aligned with major powers, will play a crucial role in global dynamics amid ongoing tensions among the US, EU, and China. Countries with significant resources in the energy sector will hold particular influence. Key players include Saudi Arabia and the UAE shaping Middle Eastern geopolitics, Turkey mediating between Ukraine and Russia, expanding its role in the Caucasus and the Middle East. India will enhance security partnerships with the West while maintaining economic ties with Russia. Brazil aims to elevate Latin America's global role. In 2024, a diverse array of smaller countries and non-state actors are poised to challenge the established global order, potentially sparking heightened conflicts. The 2023 takeover of Nagorno-Karabakh by Azerbaijan and the unexpected surge of violence between Armenia and Azerbaijan serve as precursors to potential disruptions. For instance, the ongoing conflict in Sudan may escalate, mirroring past instances of internal strife and geopolitical complexities. Tensions between Kosovo and Serbia, already strained, could continue to rise, reflecting historical challenges in reaching a diplomatic resolution. New security alliances, such as the 2023 Mutual Defense Pact between the dictators of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, shows the evolving landscape of geopolitical relationships in Africa. Diplomatic shifts are also likely to unfold, with countries like Kazakhstan seeking to strengthen cooperation with neighboring Central Asian nations. Kazakhstan's efforts may extend to fostering improved relations with Western countries. And Armenia, which has been relying upon Russia for its security, now shifts towards the West in response to the Armenian-Azerbaijan conflict. In 2024, the diverse web of geopolitical relationships will extend its influence to international organizations. As Brazil assumes the role of host nation for the G20, the agenda is likely to prioritize topics such as climate change and food security, aligning with the interests of the global South. Additionally, Russia is set to host the first BRICS summit with an expanded membership, potentially introducing complexities in the geopolitical dynamics between its members and major powers like the US and EU. In the upcoming year, we can expect the formation of diverse coalitions and alliances addressing specific issues. An example of this is the collaboration between India and China to enhance the standing of BRICS, despite India's efforts to decrease economic dependencies on China and ongoing border disputes. Simultaneously, the US and Saudi Arabia, despite being security allies, may face ongoing tensions related to global oil supplies. This geopolitical multiverse is poised to introduce increased volatility in diplomatic and economic interactions throughout the year. Let's go back to speaking of the multipolar world. Is multipolarity good? It depends, but mostly multipolarity seems to be an equal distribution of power and a more balanced global order. But human nature is always competitive and problematic, so are nations. Multipolarity can be indeed chaotic when problems arise, with no one having enough power to mediate or interfere. In the modern era, the USA has the highest military power, but take a look at the Russian invasion on Ukraine. The USA would not interfere mainly by hard power if the opponent is nuclear armed. With the advancement of technology and artificial intelligence, as well as attempts of other nations to own a nuclear weapon, multipolar world can be scarier than we think. To check if it's true, let's go back to history to do some fact-checking. Back in the Second World War, the war between Axis powers and Allies power, that was basically a war of multipolar world. And for World War I, there was a system of great power rivalries and alliances in Europe, known as multipolarity. Countries were aligned in various alliances, including the Triple Entente and the Triple Alliance. And back to Middle Age, there used to be a lot of wars between empires and races as a multipolar world, with no one to make a decisive interference. In a nutshell, we need to be ready for whatever comes our way in this unpredictable world. I'm using the term multipolar world to describe our current global order, even though it might seem bipolar with the USA and China in the spotlight. The presence of nuclear-armed nations and the intricate web of international relations have led countries to act complicatedly, even when a nation is facing critical internal issues or invasion. Take some of European nations, for instance, despite their strong stance against crimes against humanity. They avoid recognizing Armenian genocide as a genocide in order not to upset their powerful ally, Turkey, or they would stay out of Rwanda genocide even though they got initial intels to stop it. But let that happen due to their political interests. I'm not trying to scare you, it's about staying calm when challenges arise. The things we've talked about are just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to uncover. Thanks a bunch for tuning in.